Hey everyone, thanks for turning up. I have an announcement to make, which is that I am not Amanda. I am someone else. Nico, are you?
I am still Nico, yes, but I was wondering what happened to your voice there. How are you,
Of
brother? Happy Thursday. This is so exciting. Thank you for inviting me to co-host today.
course, of course. I'm trying to get, oh wait, hold on. Got the Twitter space. So I'm trying to get Basilisk on stage.
Yes, I see a speaker request.
Oh yeah. Okay.
There you
Oh
go.
no, but so
Oh no, wait, he's
I
back to
can't,
listener. Let's see here.
okay, wait. Requested. Okay, wait. Add a speaker. Hold on. This is always a very, oh wait, there we go. Got it.
By the way, you sound great. You're coming in loud and clear, so good mic check.
Good to know. Same to you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, now it should be fine.
Yep, I can hear you. So hey, who have we got on here with us?
Yeah, let's do our
Hey,
intros. Go ahead, Basilic. I'll let you kick off the intros. Good morning.
okay. I mean, good morning. It's afternoon, like late afternoon here. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kronos. I'm one of the co-founders of Basilisk, and I'll just give you some of my personal experience. I have been in crypto since 2015. I have worked in DeFi projects for over 4 years now, and yeah, we decided to launch something on our own on zkSync this time.
Very good. And Nico, do you see anyone in here that you don't recognize and need to introduce yourself?
No, but yeah, I'll go ahead since in case somebody misses the call and does the playback. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Nico. I'm one of the contributors, and I'm the co-host of the Tahoe Community Call. We are the world's first community-owned digital wallet. We are fully open sourced. And we just had a wonderful partnership with Across, one of the very first bridges to integrate our digital wallet. So really excited to be here and just excited to be a part of the campaign. If anybody wants to check us out, we're at tahoe.xyz, and we are in the final stages of our community beta testing. So we're going to be launching the final edition soon, and our DAO is also getting released soon. So it's a great time to come on over. And God, I'm really excited to talk DeFi today. I'm really curious about Basilisks. So yeah, I'd love to get the call started.
I very much concur about talking DeFi. It feels like it's been way too long since gone back to first principles. Um, and for my part, my name is Clayton. I'm the community lead at Risk Labs, and Risk Labs being the foundation that supports UMA and Across. And Across is mathematically just the best bridge. I mean, there just isn't even a comparison. So you should use that if you want a bridge. That's my spiel. Very ballsy. Okay. Um,
And I actually concur
so
with that too. I love your bridge. I mean, the UX is just unbelievable. So not ballsy at all, man. That's well said, well put.
cheers. Appreciate that. Um, Very good. Well, yeah, really keen. Love to have you here, Basilisk. And I think we should kick off. We have kind of a few questions to chat about, but why don't you just go ahead and introduce a little more about your project, and also why you're excited about zk Sync Era.
Yeah, so just to give you a small explanation of Basilisk, the simple part would be that we are a borrow lending protocol, and as far as borrow lending goes, we are not doing that much different compared to other protocols. Our main difference comes in our tokenomics and the way we distribute interest. Want me to get straight on that, or first start with why we are building on zk Sync? I think it's fine to explain tokenomics, right? Straight up.
Oh, just what you're excited about on zk Sync
Okay.
Era, like to deploy there.
Okay. I'm excited in general about all the layer twos. Ethereum had some massive issues, especially in the bull market, with the fees being exorbitant, transactions getting delayed. honestly, it was just impossible for the average user to trade or do anything as far as Ethereum goes. Therefore, with the introduction of all the layer twos, I think one of the biggest problems, which is the fees and the how user friendly Ethereum is solved. zkSync has an extremely good team behind it, and this is why I actually believe that it's gonna be not one with a winner, because I think there will be multiple winners, but I think it will be one of the most dominant protocols. I understand that right now they are a bit behind because Arbitrum launched before them, but I can understand it's still, let's say, some kind of experimental tech. We will still see a lot of upgrades, and I'm extremely excited to see what the future holds with every layer two, like I mentioned.
Very nice. Yeah. 100% agree with you about the limitations that we face now, and it's kind of cool to imagine what's going to happen when the next inflow of users come in. Just knowing how well set up things are now. So why don't you tell us a bit more about um, Basilisk, and also maybe go into a little bit more of the just mathematical details on the financing side of things, maybe how the interest rates are calculated.
If you want the full mathematics behind it, then I'll try to invite the other co-founder. What I can explain is that the way we calculate the APR right now is, first of all, the differences between the borrow and the lending. And the second one is about the tokens that we are distributing towards each pool. Right now, the tokens are being distributed in a, let's say, centralized way. We are planning in the future on changing that and move to a complete decentralized model. In any case, this is gonna be the future, in my opinion, decentralized fully, and this is something that we want Basilisk to head towards to. We are also planning on introducing governance, and that will add an extra layer on decentralization. Unfortunately, we had a big debate in the team to introduce, let's say, governance straight up, but we decided not to because there have been quite a lot of issues with the governance models that exist in other protocols. For example, there have been an issue in the protocol in Solana that was exploited by using governance. So until we find the proper governance model that we like and we believe that it's safe for a protocol, we would delay that. So yeah, right now, to just go back straight up the first question, the APR is calculated mostly and through the token that we are distributing.
Perfect. And I appreciate your explanation about the governance. I think that's a very thoughtful thing to kind of consider governance as it is clearly an attack vector or a failure point of sorts. And we have seen that happen. So yeah, I can see the rationale behind that entirely.
Yeah, every protocol, you hear stories about protocols being exploited time and time again. And honestly, this is a very sad thing. And I don't think there is also a lot of solutions right now. You can do audits, you can do everything, you can have multisig, but still, that doesn't exactly solve every problem might exist in decentralization. Because, like I said, the crypto in general, in my opinion, is still quite early stage, even though we have seen leaps in the last 4 years as far as the tech goes. But still, we need to do a lot more than that.
Yep, I hear you. Well, very cool. So my next question for you is around liquidity, which seems to be like just the make or break for most like pure DeFi protocols, especially. How do you plan to crack that particular problem?
Right now, we are planning on ramping up, let's say, the marketing, and after that, because let's not kid ourselves, marketing is pretty much one of the main reasons that the protocol can succeed right now in crypto. So we have actually started coming in contact with a few people that we will be bringing on board as an advisor to help us with the marketing. We are planning on starting partnering up with a lot of projects, and we will start, let's say, next week to actively, the outreach in general. That being said, there are some extra steps we can take, like we are already in contact with a few liquidity providers. However, you need, let's say, very, very good incentives in order to have them on board, especially for a sizable amount of, let's say, liquidity.
Sure. Absolutely. That can definitely be a challenge, making sure those incentives are aligned. So you mentioned something about your token being used as part of an incentive. Maybe you could tell us a bit more about the tokenomics for Basilisk. And then I was also struck by the term user-focused emissions. Maybe you could explain what that is.
Yeah. User-focused emissions pretty much means that the way we have the distribution of our tokens as an APR, as, let's say, interest on top of the pools is a bit different than what Aave or let's say most of the protocols does. We are closer to I don't remember the one on optimism. I just forgot the name right now. Radiant Capital. We're closer to that. That means that, for example, a user does not get our token as a mission from the high APRs just from deploying liquidity on one of our pools. They will also need to have to lock 5% of their supplied assets as liquidity for the Basilisk token. The reason we did that is because one of the main problems for, I would say, all DeFi protocols is the mercenary farming. They just jump in, they get the high APRs, and then they just ignore the protocol. They leave, they dump the token, and that's I'm not gonna say a make or break deal for one protocol, but it's very painful, especially for when a new DeFi protocol starts. You have some, let's say, mercenary farmers farm the massive supply of the tokens, then they just dump it and move to the next one, and that can easily kill your project. So the way we do that, they actually have to buy our own liquidity first. That means the liquidity of our own token will increase. So that will slowly reduce the sell pressure in case they want to dump as well. In addition to that, we do believe that it's better for the long-term users of the protocol to have to be more profitable, let's say, in any aspect. So we have different weighting systems for depending on the amount of time that you lock both the liquidity and everything. Extra, apart from that, we'll also have let's say locked incentives. That means that it will take about 3 months for all your APR to be credited directly to your wallet. So you will need to unstake them first, then it will take 3 months, and then you can get the full APR that you are entitled to. Of course, we do have some extra mechanisms that you can pretty much you are allowed to unlock all your rewards early. However, if you do that, the protocol does keep a certain percentage for the protocol, which we will later distribute it as an extra incentives.
I see. Yeah, very interesting. Let me ask one clarification question. You said that the 5% of the deposit, like 5% of the supplied asset would be taken for liquidity mining. For asset liquidity, for Basilisk liquidity. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. For our own token liquidity. For example, if you supply 1,000 USD on the USD pool, and you lend that anyway, you need to lock 50 USD worth of BLSK /Ethereum.
And if you You need to lock those, and then
You can
what
you
what's
can
the
you can choose the amount of time that you lock them. If I remember correctly, it's 1, 3, 6, or 12 months. The higher the amount of time that you lock that kind of liquidity, the higher the APR you get. Um, and yeah, if you choose not to lock anything, you still get the basic APR, which should be about 3% per year, without all the extra rewards from our token.
This is interesting. It's a different design I think I've seen before myself, and you're sort of cutting out a few steps in between, like basically, some protocols, and in fact, across is one where we give out emissions for liquidity. We do have a loyalty, like a reward multiplier, if you stay staked for longer, but we don't have, there's no like connection between being uh, a platform liquidity provider and being a market liquidity provider. And what you've done is made them sort of the same thing, which I think is really fairly unique. And I'll be interested to see how, if it has sort of a network flywheel effect, or how well it does out in the wild. Will be exciting to see.
We actually checked a lot the V model that most of the protocols are using right now. However, that still has the issue that your liquidity does not increase, and the more people sell, theoretically and practically, I would say, the more the liquidity decreases. So it's easier for the token to dump and all that stuff. So that's why we chose, rather than having a traditional V model where you just lock your own token for X amount of time, we thought that locking the liquidity might be better, since it also increases both buy pressure and reduces the sell pressure with the increased liquidity.
Very good. So I had read about leaderboards for protocol-based lending activity. What's kind of your intention, or what's the inspiration behind that?
I mean, the leaderboard was mostly for the early airdrop, and we are actually planning on reviewing in the future. We took that part, I would say, and the inspiration was the Blair, the NFT Marketplace. Um, Of course, they used it for NFTs, so it was completely different. However, there was quite a lot of success with people using the protocol by using the leaderboard. We also had quite a lot of success, since, I mean, sure, a lot of them were bots and fake or new addresses that were just airdrop farmers. But we did have thousands and thousands. I don't remember the exact number, but it was over 5 digits of users even on the testnet.
Very nice. That's very cool. So it definitely seems to be effective at encouraging activity.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. At the end of the day, even if they are, bots, there's still someone using the protocol.
yeah, absolutely. Um,
One more thing that I think I forgot to mention, but we will also be distributing, part of the fees that the protocol earns towards everyone who locks liquidity. And so,
I see.
if you lock the 5% and you get the extra admissions, that means you are eligible for both our rewards, our own token, and the fees that the protocol earns.
Nice. Yep. So that sort of doubly aligns incentives to both, to increase the amount of use the protocol has, and then also if your tokens are locked, you're in for the long run. So it seems like a good design. Um, so as someone who has done a lot of research and use of lending protocols, what kind of advice would you give for people that are interested in using one?
Honestly, the first thing would be study a lot before using it. We have seen quite a lot of people that um, borrow the max amount they can, and then they deposit back then, or they just use it for other purposes. However, that does leave you open for the risk of liquidation, and we have seen a lot of people that fail to reduce the amount of funds that they borrow, so they just get almost instantly liquidated. So, I mean, isn't only for the borrow lending protocols, but anyone who wants to use DeFi protocols. The one suggestion that I would have for them is first study a bit about it, and if you can, play around in a testnet or play around with a small amount of assets first, get used to it, and then slowly get into it.
I think that's very prudent advice. And yeah, absolutely. And it's painful when you can see on chain what somebody did and you know how they're feeling, but you just can't reach out and talk to them.
Yeah, it's I mean, decentralization has both pros and cons. So.
Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing about Basilisk, and excited to work together in the future. Of course, Across is well prepared to deliver assets for people to supply, and I think there's a wallet that is possibly ready to help you with that whole process. And I saw Nico is probably
Chomping
gonna.
at the bit,
Oh,
yeah.
but
Yeah, I wanted to wait until the conversation calmed down a little bit. The DeFi talk is amazing. But as you know, I'm definitely an onboarding guy. My specialty is community and onboarding, and my personal goal is, of course, bringing the next billion people into blockchain. So it's incredible to hear you also agree that we're early. I love that. um, but since I have the opportunity, I wanted to just ask, just for our audience as well, could you talk a little bit more about the networks? I know I see your primary support is Kasama, and I believe that's Polkadot, right? Is that sort of the basis of the platform?
what do you mean?
Well,
No,
I'm
uh,
really excited that you're supporting ZK Era. Like that's my jam. I love
you
ZK
are
and
confusing the protocols. There is also another protocol on Kusama that's called Basilisk.
oh, gotcha. That was my primary question. Yeah, because I know we're just so excited to release support for ZK Era. We've had we were one of the first integrations with Across on their protocol, and yeah, I just wanted to just chat a little bit more about that. What are the networks that people can trade on? What all is involved in your DeFi? Because it's really amazing to just see protocol on different networks.
Well, right now we are only on zkSync, but the thing is that we do plan on going cross-chain in the future, and we have already designed a unique mechanism that doesn't actually exist right now in DeFi, which pretty much makes you secure, even if one of the bridges get exploited. And actually, the inspiration for that came a bit from Polkadot and the Kusama ecosystem. And the way we do it is that we are planning on using multiple cross-chain messaging or bridges in order to pass forward the messages. And we are actually testing some kind of contracts that will be used in some kind, I would say, of multi-sig way. So yeah, personally, I'm excited for any new network that launches. As far as the tech goes, because every new network that launches, they do something different, even if it's like something extremely small. The difference might be extremely small, but still, I mean, slow and steady wins the race. So at some point, we will reach at the end game.
That's incredible. How do you decide what tokens are available for your users? And is it a set list or?
No, actually, we mainly focus on the tokens that have sufficient liquidity in its network. If you do not have sufficient liquidity, then that does leave the protocol open for exploitation. The reason for that is that they can just you know uh, completely destroy the price or completely destroy the liquidation by taking out a lot of part of the liquidity that exists in the network. And this is the reason that right now we only have Ethereum and USDC, but we do plan on adding uh, Bitcoin in the future.
Excellent, excellent. That's exciting to hear. I'm a real fan of the seeing the Bitcoin being bridged in. Our sibling project is, which I've mentioned before, a protocol called Threshold network, and they have, they essentially have a bridge to bring Bitcoin onto Ethereum. But I think that's wildly exciting. I know that there were some other attempts in the past. WBTC was a little bit more of a centralized solution, but um, it's just really amazing to think of a day where we can actually we can actually be agnostic across all chains. It's really exciting. So um,
I think there are like years until that happens to become completely
yeah,
agnostic anyway.
don't be surprised. I mean, TBTC is live right now. In fact, I know we haven't got it bridged over onto ZK yet, but I know we're certainly talking to Across about it. So, um, and yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you. I definitely would love to continue the conversation. We just support Web3. We really want to have a decentralized option for people, and one of the things that's most rewarding for me with decentralized finance, and we've talked about this a number of times on our cross panels, is breaking down a lot of the barriers. You know, it's one side of the coin where you mentioned, sure, people will come in without doing research and they put themselves at risk. You've definitely got to do your own research before you make any investment or jump into any project. But on the flip side, with traditional finance, and man, I know there's a lot of barriers in place that just they prevent people from even getting in the door. So I love DeFi for that, and we're proud to support that. We don't have any geofencing or particularly we're 100% decentralized protocol, and we're about to be launching a DAO. So um, yeah, we'd love to have that conversation with you and provide wallet support. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's funny that you mentioned, especially the barrier that people have right now in entering crypto in general, because I had the conversation with a friend of mine, and he has been in crypto for years, and right now he has a very, very big issue of entering money into the crypto market and just buying the basics, just buying Ethereum.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, well, one of the things we looked at with our approach, it's no secret that Metamask is a centralized entity. They've definitely got a lot of funding from well recognized banks, J.P. Morgan Chase, and they closed their their coding. So you can't really go like with Tahoe. You can go right to our GitHub repository, and anybody can open it up and fork it, really get in there and understand what we're doing under the hood. But MetaMask, of course, is closed source, and they're more like a Web 2 kind of a proprietary software at this point. But the downside to that is absolutely, there's been geofencing that's taken place. There's, a lot of things that they can turn on and off at their bequest. So yeah, it's an opportunity for everybody to really open up in Web 3. So please have anybody check us out. Yeah, I would love to do whatever we can to support your protocol. The thing that
Hey,
I love most are integrations. That. I mean, I
Yeah.
love seeing all the integrations that come from Web 3. It's something that you just have never had in any other industry before. Sorry, Glenn.
no, 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 all good. I actually had something you had brought up. I didn't want to forget to ask about because you made me think of this, which was to ask speaker Basilisk, forgive me, to ask what was your take on the CRV oopsie? Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, at this point, I don't think I can blame any protocol for anything. Like I said, there are multiple exploits going on daily. Uh, but the thing is that most of the people only learn from the high-profile ones, and they just ignore, all the small ones that exist. But there is not I won't say an experience, but there are still a lot of stuff that. Web3 protocols need to learn about both how to run a company or all, the security measures you need to have in place, or, everything. So it's very, very hard to start, yeah, but actually it's very easy to blame someone for something that they didn't do. However, we're in an extremely competitive market right now, and it's very, very easy uh, to, have to change priorities, and then, forget one stuff that you should have done or you should have been prepared for. And the most common thing that people forget is the security. So yeah, I would say, I mean, sure, they stuff like that shouldn't have happened, but at the end of the day, they will happen over and over and over again until everything, is pretty much done and ready to work properly.
Yep, totally makes sense. Yeah, I appreciate your perspective on that. And obviously, it's the kind of thing that someone in your position is going to think quite thoughtfully. And you already shared about kind of the liquidity checks that you all would do. So yeah, totally makes sense. But yeah, keen to hear your thoughts on that particular event. Well, I think that's all on my list. Nico, were there any closing questions that you wanted to pitch his way?
No, no. In fact, this was an incredible call, and I just wanted to give a quick update. We are actually already integrated. I'm a little embarrassed. I was on the wrong interface. Thank you for steering me back to basilisk.org, which is basilisk.org. So yeah, I encourage everybody on the call to check it out. Yeah, we're fully integrated. I'm connected to your site right now, so great UX. And I just wanted to close with a thank you both to Across and Basilisk. Thank you guys for making Web3 available to everybody. Each day when I look at crypto Twitter, I see such rewarding stories. I follow a lot of women in crypto. There's SheFi, and there are different organizations. Obviously, Gitcoin and Giveth. These are organizations that actually fund projects just for public good. And of course, DeFi, the access to actually touching, your money and being able to utilize it in your own way. So thank you guys for that. I think the future is so bright, and I apologize for getting so excited, but I just every day, I learned something so new, and I'm really excited about your platform. So it was an honor to be on your panel today, and I really look forward to all the great things that are coming.
Same here, guys.
Well, very good. Thanks everyone who took the time to hang out with us a bit. And I think let's go ahead and wrap and get back to hunting for alpha. So take care. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah.